Hey everyone, this is Trisha Tangan, and this is my presentation on sensory processing disorder. Sensory processing disorder, also known as SPD, is defined as a child's inability to properly detect, receive, and produce efficient and adaptive responses to people or objects in their environment. SPD is found to be more prevalent than autism. However, it has been overlooked for years due to its similar characteristics to ADHD and anxiety. SPD can be broken down into three categories: sensory modulation disorder, which includes over-responsivity, under-responsivity, and sensory craving; sensory-based motor disorder, which includes dyspraxia and postural disorders; and sensory discrimination disorder, which includes visual, auditory, olfactory, gustatory, proprioceptive, vestibular, and tactile disorders. Although the causes of sensory processing disorder is unknown, advanced neuroimaging and consistent tests are discovering evidence of brain structures showing inadequate transmissions of neural impulses that are set apart from other neurodevelopmental disorders. Common characteristics and symptoms seen in SPD include extreme responses to tactile sensations, such as clothes, food, or brushing the hair or teeth; sensitivity to bright lights or loud noises; unaware of body parts and positioning, causing poor balance and clumsiness; they have diminished sensory responsiveness, causing undersensitivity, irritability and short attention span, and abnormal responses to tactile input. Signs of SPD can be observed at different stages of childhood. During infancy, children with SPD tend to dislike cuddling, fail to make eye contact, have difficulty with oral motor skills such as suckling or chewing, and tend to have poor self-regulation skills during times of stress and frustration. As toddlers, delayed motor, social, and self-care milestones are observed. They lack normal curiosity to explore their environment, or contrastly, they explore their world in a disorganized or destructive manner. They also tend to become frustrated with whole body movement tasks, such as climbing downstairs backwards. In preschool, children show signs of dyspraxia, inadequate body postures, an inability to sustain attention during school, difficulty interacting with peers, and have a delay in fine and gross motor skills. Sensory modulation disorder can be described as tactile defensiveness, sensory seeking, and sensory hypersensitivity. It's the disruption in the central nervous system that regulates sensations and controls how incoming sensations are perceived. In other words, the central nervous system is unable to interpret and process information efficiently. Functional implications include the inability to focus on the task at hand due to a low threshold of stimulation, meaning the child is being flooded with too many stimulants at once. Or in contrast, the child may be over-focused on a task due to a high threshold of stimulation, meaning that he or she is unaware of the other events going on in his or her surrounding. This can cause difficulty with play, learning, and social relationships. Sensory-based motor disorder can be characterized by poor vestibular proprioceptive processing, difficulties with motor planning and movement, and inadequate balance and equilibrium reactions. Functional implications include clumsiness and awkwardness, maladaptive posture due to low muscle tone, and poor bilateral coordination and reciprocal movements. Sensory discrimination disorder, or SDD, is the inability to differentiate sensations like intensity, volume, or direction. Those with SDD are hyperactive, impulsive, and have difficulty discriminating what is too much or too little during play. Functional implication includes the incapacity to pick up on social cues or recognize personal space. They seek a disproportionate amount of stimuli caused by undersensitivity and can also hinder social relationships. SDD can also have difficulty interpreting tactile information, which causes awkwardness, impaired relation skills, impaired visual perception, and impaired eye-hand coordination skills. Sensory processing disorder can have several impacts on development. The poor transmission of environmental sensations can cause the child's perception of the world to be frightening. The effects SPD can have on development include poor motor skill development, difficulty with play and playfulness, interference with social interactions, inadequate body awareness, which can lead to decreased coordination, motor planning, sequencing, and timing skills. Learning can also be affected and can lead to academic failure. And finally, poor social adaptations can interfere with forming relationships. Specific considerations for occupational therapy are creating interventions in an environment with controlled stimulations that present different types of sensory experiences and allow the child to explore at their own pace. Occupational therapy can help a child identify what exactly causes maladaptive responses and develop skills to cope with it. Occupational therapy can also create child-directed interventions to promote brain organization and make the child feel involved with their healing process. And lastly, occupational therapy can adjust the environmental settings according to the child in order to stimulate interest and inspire confidence in them to expand and explore in social play.